So today I'm at Serengeti for my first golf lesson with Doug Wood. Now Doug Wood is a coach for a number of tour pros as well as top level amateurs, and he goes about it in a slightly different way to any coach that I've ever had in the past. So some coaches coach a very fixed method. Now Doug likes to look at the individual to see what kind of movement patterns he's capable of producing and then run with that. And at this facility they also do the whole approach, so PT, physio and golf coach all sort of working together, so essentially you get the best support for your golf game. So before we get into the actual golf lesson itself, and I'm not sure exactly what's in store, but I met Doug the other day and he had quite a few interesting things to say, so I know this golf lesson is going to be something that I've never experienced before. For that we've got a bio assessment with Tanya where she's gonna what my body's capable of, measure it out, all kinds of stuff. I'm not sure exactly, so we're just gonna get straight into it with Tanya, and then after that we've got the golf lesson itself with Doug. And I'm pretty sure you're gonna be able to pick up lots of stuff from this lesson, apply to your golf games as well as gain some knowledge. So let's get into the first bit. Right, so I'm with Tanya, who is a biokineticist.
Nice to meet you, James. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
That's good.
Can you just tell us what we're going to be doing today, or what you do first,
Yes.
and then what we're going to be doing in this session?
Okay, good. So I'm a movement specialist. Okay, so in South Africa it's called biokinetics. So I'm going to look at your body story, your golf story. Obviously you want to see what your body does, and I want to see what your golf is doing.
Okay.
So I relay the two with another, and I want to make sure that your body story is the same as your golf story. So in other words, you get the best out of your golf because biomechanically you're moving well.
Okay.
And then I also want to make sure that you're getting the best out of your golf so that your body can last long.
Right.
I'm going to give you a gym program, I'm going to give you a warm-up program.
Cool.
I'm going to make sure that your body's moving well, fast, and I'll teach you things about sequencing, stabilizers versus global movers, etc. So I just want to make sure you're stable and that you're mobile.
Great.
And where those limitations
And
are.
Doug was saying you could almost guess how to swing a golf club by...
Well, just looking at your body is telling
Matching that
you.
makeup,
Yeah, so I'll be able to tell you where your bad movements are and why that's actually happening. I think that's the most important part, is why that's happening, and we address those areas.
Sweet. Looking forward to it. So we can't show all of this, right?
No,
There's a few
unfortunately
things we
not.
can't
No,
show.
it's my secret. You'll have to
Yeah.
come and see me.
This is Doug.
Morning, everybody.
Welcome to the channel.
Thank you.
Please can you just, I've done a little introduction before the video, but could
Yep.
you just introduce yourself and then explain what we're going to be doing today?
Cool. So today we're going to have a look at James. We're going to see if he can actually swing left-handed or right-handed. No, just kidding.
I might have to restart from the fresh.
We're going to basically do a little bit of 3D work on him. We're going to do a little bit of trackman work, find out where he's strong and where he's weak. We're going to try and combine that up with what the biomechanist has said in his movement patterns. We're going to probably take about 6 or 7 hours to evaluate all the stuff that we want from him and find out what swing style is going to suit him the best and what's missing on the golf course to help him shoot lower numbers. So yeah, let's figure out where he needs to be and what kind of swing he needs to run.
From behind, okay. You're going to push as hard as you can against my hand with your hips. That way.
With
Okay.
my hips?
Hips. So push your hips that way. There you go. Handle forward, but push it with your hips. Okay.
Sure.
Let's go. Push, push. Yeah, that's pretty square. Good. So that's a good grip. So I'm Nicole from Pleasant. So one of the head coaches here, been here about 12 years at Serengeti. So been a tour player, stopped about 10 years ago. So enjoy this way more, giving other problems than trying to fix my own problems myself. So quite excited to work with James. So we'll see how we go.
Let's go put this on 3D then. Nix is going to help you get the chest turn, we've got pelvis turn, and over here we've got hand. So basically they're calling it sway and lift, but it's how far your hands are moving away and when they're lifting in the direction they're lifting in.
Okay.
So I'm going to flip you around here and I'm going to give you a different view. So let's go down the line first. So we've got like 90 degrees rotation. What did we hit there? 7 on?
Yeah.
Yeah. So thoracic rotation, which is basically your chest, is 90 degrees and pelvis is 42. So yeah, pretty big, pretty decent turn there with the pelvis, bit with the chest. I think 90 degrees there, it's touched. So yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good as far as rotations go. You could see your hands have got kind of like an outward movement and then in and up. Can you see that? Look at it's got. Can you see it? Can you see it's got? Yeah. It doesn't have a direct movement to the
quite,
top. Yeah.
yeah.
Normally that comes from the way your grip style has been and the way you've been pushing forces on the club. Okay. So I think it comes from your long driving. You're kind of like setting it up to.
Yeah, my long driving was just like, let's try and get the hands as high as I can type thing. I guess that is that.
That's kind of where it's happening.
Move.
Because it should actually be running somewhere around there. That would be your natural.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So my hands are pretty high.
Yeah, they're going a little higher than what you tested for. See, maybe a little over the top in the beginning. No, not too bad. Hand path is pretty good there. Maybe, yeah, very good. So pretty good. You can see we've got a little bit of pelvis tuck here. Tanya did tell us that you're stuck with the right hip. So because the right hip is stuck, you can actually see that there's a little bit of a thrust forward there. If you watch, can you see that? Can you see it? Yeah. So that's actually showing us that there's that jam, that there's a limitation.
So I can't turn into that.
Yeah, you're not turning into that hip. But Tanya's going to try and help us and see if we can sort it out a little better, and then we can turn into that hip a little better.
Yeah.
So it's forcing the pelvis to kind of tuck underneath a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Right, guys, just to summarise the lesson, that was a really, really positive experience. Found out some stuff about my body and the way I can move that's going to be really helpful. And it was, the first lesson was just it's like measure everything out, find out what sort of like I want to do with my golf game, what's going to work for me with my golf game. So we're at the start of a pretty cool journey with these guys to improve my golf, essentially. The couple changes that were made in the initial lesson were grip was a big one. So I've naturally got quite a strong grip, but I found out through basically applying force to a fixed object on the floor, I've never done this before either, my left hand grip, which was naturally in a strong position, is actually the way that I want to hold the club. So that was fine, but my right hand grip was also really strong, so under the club, instead of being on top, it was this way, and that was not a good position for my right hand to be, which explains why I sometimes have problems controlling the club face and I get those big left misses. I'm always trying to fight this really strong grip and trying to do some stuff in my swing that's going to raise the handle and stop the ball going left. So what we've done is we've moved my grip, instead of being in a really strong position, we've moved it right on top, so the V from the forefinger and the thumb points directly at my chin. Now this is quite a big change and it's quite a lot to get used to, but that's going to help me gain control of the club face. Along with that, I've been playing a draw for most of the summer, so my club face has just got into like quite a shut position at address. So we've got that back to square along with the grip. And then my natural swing was pretty much hitting just little cuts. And that's what we're going to move towards, just because, especially with clubhead speed, it's just way easier to control a fade. And then I feel like my bad days, when I'm not swinging very well, it's going to be easier to control the ball when I'm hitting a fade with a slightly open face. There was just one drill that we worked on to get my club in a slightly better position on the backswing. And that was just holding my club with my left hand and just swinging to the top just with the left hand. And that if you try that at home, it literally just gets the club moving on a really nice plane. So that's my only feel, is just once I've got the grip and the club face in the right place, just slowly implementing that feel with just the holding the left hand and swinging the golf club, which gets the club slightly more neutral at the top instead of that high position that I got just probably from the long drive days where I was trying to really get it high. And that is as far as it went technically for the day. They were like pretty happy with the move that I made after those changes were made. It wasn't actually that far away, and I don't have to change that much. And now we can build on this move and find out, all the things that I do, all my tendencies, and just try to manage them whilst then getting good at really, controlling the ball via, skills and stuff to do on the range in practice that's gonna move my golf game to the next level. Right, the next bit was short game. So people that watch this channel, they're going to know how much I've struggled with short game in the past. And when you come out here and this grass, this kikuyu, is very firm. So if it's into grain, if you're not using the bounce properly and you're using leading edge, the club literally will just dig into the ground and it becomes very hard to, it just means that your low point control has to be bang on. So what we've done is firstly, the grip just naturally flows into the short game, which helps me not take the club back shut and inside. So that was a big thing. And the other thing is we just raised the handle, so the toes got more interaction with the ground instead of the leading edge and the heel. So that makes it, again, easier to use the bounce properly. And then instead of changing too much, all we've done is move the ball position back so that I can find the low point in the correct place. So I just stand slightly open, ball slightly back, raise the handle, and actually got I actually felt pretty confident for the first time in a long time, chipping and pitching. Now obviously this is gonna, move on from here, and we're gonna go through a lot of stuff. Like, I'm gonna show you the whole thing as well, like all the stuff that we're doing in practice and technique stuff following on from this lesson and during the next lessons. So that's all gonna come. Anyway, it's now the end of the day. I'm absolutely shattered. So I'm going to wrap it up, but coming this week is a lot of stuff. We've got some course vlogs, and we've got a tournament. I'm actually going to see Tanya again tomorrow morning. She's got a program that she's going to give me. Hopefully I can get another lesson before I head up to Pretoria for this next event. That's all going to be in the vlog this week. There's just a lot of stuff coming up. So I hope you've got a few insights from this lesson. So I will see you on the next one. Course vlogs, tournaments, vlogs coming all this week. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and we will see you very soon.